Hello everybody, this is Spriggan Webb back here with a new What If. I know I said that I was going to do What If Deku was a Todoroki next, part 3, but I changed my mind and this is going to be the new What If that I'll be starting. This is going to be What If Deku was the Red and White Dragon Emperor. Let's get in with it. Okay, we start this What If off with Izuku. Let's get in with some lore. So Izuku got the one for a quirk still at 14, and UA is going to be a college, like in most of my what ifs. So instead of going to like some high school, he goes to the high school DxD high school. Um, so it's been like he's 17 at the time, and it's like his second year of high school, like his second to last year of high school. And he's like that quiet kid that he doesn't talk to anybody. He kind of dulled his emotions. So what usually goes on throughout the day is he leaves his mask on, since he does still have the burn in this, and he listens to music throughout most of the day, and he's smarter on this. So he whenever he whenever the teachers give him like an assignment, he completes it within like 10 minutes, and then they say that he can just roam around the school. He also likes to sleep in this. Like, he has a lot of sleep during the day. So whenever people have so he's like Issei in this. He's been caught in he's been caught in places where usually pervs would be at. So he's fallen asleep in the girls' locker room, and they heard him snoring, which is how they found him out. And he just had a lot of every time they thought he was being a perv, he wasn't. He was just sleeping. And we skip to the day where Yuki, I'm pretty sure it was, Rainier, the fallen angel. So she asks him if he would be his boyfriend. And then that whole thing happens. He doesn't have any friends in this so far, since he doesn't really trust most people. That's why he's known as like the loner of the school. And then what happens is that she asks him on the date. We skip to that day, and Inko, he still lives with Inko. She is the same. So she since went to his new high school. Inko has been worried about him, and so she thought he wasn't gonna make any friends. So she was shocked when he said that he was gonna go on a date. And then we skip to that date, and the whole thing with that whole interaction happens, and we skip to when they go to the pond. And she asks him to take off the mask. He disagrees because he doesn't like people seeing his face. And then she asks him, will he die for her? And Izuku's shocked behind the mask. Then he jumps back, thinking like, what's happening? Then she brings out her wings, and he's even more shocked. Then she stabs him with the spears of light, and also the previous day he got a seal, from Rias's familiar, and he's dying. Well, he's thinking he's dying, and then he remembers when he was looking for spots. He spotted Rias Grummery out of the corner of his eye, and he remembered how her hair was red, red as blood, like crimson. And then what happens is, the summoning circle happens, and she gets summoned there. Like, at this point, Rainier's left, and she says that she's going to bring him back. When he wakes up the next morning, um, he doesn't, like, feel anything different in the bed. And something that I should note about his his bedroom, is that it has noise-canceling foam all around it. Because he's learned how to play instruments since he left, middle school. Then what happens is, he starts playing music, like on a drum, like mixing, like switching in between drums and a guitar. Like, he only plays one song in the morning, and that's Heroes by, I forget, I'll check. Actually, no, it's not Heroes, it's Thanks for the Memories, which is a song that I only heard recently. So, and I liked it, so I'm gonna use it in this What If. Rias gets woken up by this, and hearing how well he plays, after that, she's impressed and she starts clapping. Then Inko comes in, shocked, seeing a naked woman in his bed. At this point, his mask is off, since he puts it on, like, after he plays a song in the morning. Then he looks behind him, and sees Rias, being shocked, thinking it was a dream last night, like him seeing her, since he did, like, spot a glimpse of her. Then Rias talks her way out of it, and explains, like, all that stuff that she did in, like, the canon. Then he asks, like, later, like, what is she doing? And she explains how she is a devil, and how the most amount of skin contact would make it easier, like, for her to heal him. Then he looks at his chest, seeing, like, a remnant of a scar, even though there's plenty of other scars, like in his body, like on his body, from the training that he's put himself through. So he still has one for all. At this point, he can use 45%, and he's unlocked float. Will only float at the moment, and he's unlocked float. And then what happens is he walks to school with her. Everybody being shocked, thinking, like, he's, like, the perv, like, and, like, why is he with her? Then we get to the part where she says that she's gonna send someone to pick him up after school. We skip to then, and then we get to Kiba. Something that I should mention, I'll be getting up to the end of the Riser fight with this one. So, Kiba walks him to the Occult Research Club, and then Rias explains how they're all devils, and so is he. Then his devil wings pop out, being different than theirs, being this purple flamey, like, shape, in this purple flamey shape. Them being, like, shocked, like being weirded out by this. This will be a thing in the future, but he is the reincarnation of two people when he got turned into a devil. I'll be telling you those later, like, much later down. So we get to where she explains how if he wants to become a high-ranking devil, he's gonna need to learn how to go, like, do that whole thing about using summoning circles. One thing that I should mention, Izuku, once he got One for All, he got this ability to adapt within a few seconds of things. So if he watches a video of something happening, he can do that thing. So say if it was like a javelin, like if it shows, like, the proper form, he can learn that within 15 seconds. So the reason that he was able to use so much of One for All at the moment is because once he got that skill, he used that and watched some old videos of, like, heroes with, like, enhancement quirks, and saw how they use it all over their body, which is how he also learns how to use full cowl. He also watched some old videos of people that could float, which is how he mastered float. And then what happens is, we get to, like, him explaining how the summoning thing works. So, he actually knows how to, go through summoning circles, and them being shocked how he got it down within a few seconds. Then we skip to the next day. And then what happens is, then we get to the part where he meets Arcia. Them getting along and her asking him where the church is. And him telling her, and them, the whole thing with him going through a summoning circle. Like, to that guy that gets slaughtered by that priest. Arcia sees him there, but at this point he still hasn't, actually no. Something that I should do before this is, so before this happens is, where that other fallen angel says that she should be dead. And then what happens is, he brings out the Red Dragon Gauntlet, like at the stage that Issei has it, like when he first unlocks it, and Albion's wings, which at this point I'll show you. See how the wings have four? He only has four of these tiles. He only has one. That shows the grade of the wings. He gets more of these by the near the end. Then what happens is, he brings them out, and the fallen angel is scared, and she runs away. Izuku, being shocked, seeing a red gauntlet and these wings popping out of his back. And him then, going off to Riaz, showing her this, and her being shocked, since she only thought he had, one thing, but he ended up having two. Everybody was shocked. Then we get to the part where the whole priest thing happens, and it doesn't happen the same as it does in canon. He the priest tries to attack him, and Izuku jumps out of the way using One for All. Then him bouncing off a wall, and then hitting the priest across the face, doing this multiple times, being trained by Gran Torino, when he was 16. Then what happens is, he starts, beating the crap out of, the priest until Arcia shows up. Her being shocked, and him saying that he is a devil. Then, the priest says, you know her? You know him? And then they leave. And Izuku gets teleported through a summoning circle. He's being summoned by the Grimoires. He gets teleported to the Occult Research Club. Him filling them in on, what happened. And then we skip to the next day, where he sees Arcia again. Him being shocked that she's alive. Then we get to the part where Rainier shows up again. Her being scared. Shocked. That he's still alive. Then he brings out the Red Dragon Gauntlet at the same, and then the wings. She being shocked that he has two sacred gears. But then she also remembers that it's only a twice critical, and it can only divide a bit of the power. So then she grabs Arcia, takes her. And then we get the whole interaction with him wanting to save Arcia, and then that whole thing happens. Then we skip to the part where they go to the church. He like when they get down there and he sees that Arcee is dead, he and how Raina like she was about to like stab her with like a sword, and he used one throw and some of the dragon's powers to zip right over there and grab her, then taking her up to the top part of the church. Kiba and Koniko fighting the those other guys. Then what happens is when after he's like Asia's like slipping away, she dies, and then Reina says like that useless bitch wasn't even worth it. And then it gets to the part where he gets enraged, and he then unlocks then it turning into this form. And the wings having two of the tiles. Then him like start using one through in with it, and it starts boosting and dividing her power along with it. This getting him up to about like when he also starts using one for all, he starts using 50%, and then it looks like he's teleporting like to get her over to her, and he then sucks her across the face. This knocking her out the window. Then we get to the part where Rias comes in, explaining the whole it being twice critical now. And then what happens is her going back to her being like the nice version, with him still being pissed, and he says that he's gonna finish her. With him going over to her and using the Red Dragon Emperor to like right where her heart is, going through it, ripping it out, and then crushing it in front of her. Everybody being like shocked like what he did, since they didn't think he would be this ruthless. Then we get to the part where Rias brings her Arcia back to life. And then what happens is we skip to the part where Arcia is transferred to the school, and we get to the part like at this something that I should mention. Then the whole thing with Sona happens, like with them wanting to get familiars. Then what happens is when they do the competitions, the whole tennis match happens. But in this, Akano gets knocked out with the ball accidentally hitting her head, and with saying if someone doesn't join, that they will have to give up. So Izuku joins in, and him using a tennis racket, but then when he hits the ball, it breaks. So he instead of using the racket, he uses his hand and whacks the ball with his hand. Everybody being shocked with nobody expecting him to be able to do this. Not even Sona or Rias saw it coming. Until it ended in with a tie. Then they said that they were going to do a dodgeball match. When they were doing the stretching, when Koniko pushes down on his back, and because she thinks that he's looking at the other members, but then she sees that he goes all the way down without him flinching. Her being shocked with this. And then we get to the part where the whole thing happens with the dodgeball. What Izuku does is he puts some headphones in and starts listening to music while it happens. Him actually just not paying attention to any of it, and just accidentally dodges most of the balls. Then we get to the part where like it's at the end and it's like most of Sona's team versus only Izuku. Then the bull like he right as the ball was going towards his face, he catches it. This cracking the mask, cracking his mask, showing his face. Everybody being shocked with the burn and all the scars on his face. With then Rhea saying, "You're explaining that after this match." With Izuku saying, "Gladly," after he destroys them. And then they start throwing the balls at him, with him just catching them, then dropping them, catching them, then dropping them. Until all the balls are on his side, and he just starts throwing them and throwing them, hitting every single one of them. Until it's Sona left. Him bringing out the Red Dragon, Emperor Gauntlet, and the wings. With him picking up the ball, boosting, and then transferring it into the ball. With him throwing it at her, it landing her in her stomach, knocking her back into a wall, making a crater in the wall. Everybody's shocked that he managed to do this. Then we skip to the part where he explains how he got the burn. With him saying that he had a childhood bully that made him like run into the forest, and then he running into like the steam vent. This then burning that side of his face, with then wolves smelling his blood and rushing towards him, scarring his face, with like seeing like the bite marks and all like the slashes. And the reason that his hair is red and blue and green is because his natural hair color was green, but then he dyed part of it red to represent his anger, and blue to represent all the sadness that has happened. Him being mostly angry, which is why there's more red. And there being some green to show that he still cares about his mother. Then what happens is, we get to, this is the point where Riser comes in. It's when, Rias teleports to his room. There's a note there saying that he's going off training to make sure he gets stronger. Then what happens is, so this is going from the time where it's then to after the Riser, like the whole Gremory family versus Riser's family. In this time, Izuku has he's been training, and on throughout his training, he came across more Dragon Emperors, him challenging them to fights. The first dragon that he gets is the volcanic Dragon Emperor. His powers are that he can create small volcanic eruptions and create volcanic weapons. Then he gets that dragon. His name is Volcor. Then the next dragon that he gets is the Blue Dragon Emperor, with his powers being able to convert things into, say, power, like attacks into power, or attacks into rage. It's pretty much just converts whatever the user says to do. Then we get to one of his more powerful dragons. Well, one of the most powerful dragons that he owns. It being able to stand up against the Red and White Dragon Emperor. This being the Green Dragon Emperor. His powers are being able to take life force from someone, or take their power. It's either one or the other. And then what happens is, his name is Medivore. And then he gets a gold dragon emperor. It's called the Golden Dragon Emperor. Um, his power is turning things gold, like the Midas touch. Then we get to the Gold Angel Dragon Emperor. The Golden Dragon Emperor and the Golden Angel Dragon Emperor gets mixed up a lot, with those two being pissed, getting confused for one another. The Golden Angel Dragon Emperor is called Mao. His power is able to use holy relics without burning if used as a devil, and can create holy weapons and holy objects. Then we get to his next one, which is the Shadowy Dragon Emperor. His name is called Malkor. And his power is shadow manipulation. So he can go into shadows, he can control shadows. Then we get to his last dragon, which is one of his most deadly. It's called the Blood Dragon Emperor. It being like him and Drake getting confused a lot, but with him having more black and red. His power is pretty much blood bending, and blood manipulation, so he can control people. I'll tell you what their secret gears are. Okay. So Red Dragon Emperor is obviously the gauntlet on his left hand. White Dragon Emperor is wings on his back. Volcanic Black Dragon Emperor is the right shoulder. Blue Dragon Emperor is a gem on the center of his chest. Green Dragon Emperor is a gauntlet on his right hand. The Golden Dragon Emperor is pretty much like a spinal plate. It goes across along his spine into a tail. The Golden Angel Dragon Emperor, left shoulder. Shadow Dragon Emperor is horns on his head. And Blood Dragon Emperor is a gem under the Blue Dragon Emperor. Like underneath the blue gem. Let's get to the part where actually no, I should explain some things about one of the dragons. The Green Dragon Emperor is one of the most deadly dragon emperors, because he has two dragons in that one gauntlet. This driving most people to insanity. But to be able to use the Green Dragon Emperor, you must have at least 4 dragons to be able to wield it, and have an immense mental stability. And then, which is why he has like the being able to steal life force, being able to steal powers, one's from each of them. And then let's get to the part where he comes back. At this point, it's the part after they've been defeated. Him saying that he's home, and with Arcia running up to him saying that he needs to go help Rias, saying that she's been forced into a marriage, and that she needs to hurry. With Deku being pissed, with it visibly showing on his face. With then Gravia coming in, giving him that teleportation seal. With him going through it. Then what happens is, when he's like outside the gate, everybody can hear like all these like screams. This being Izuku like tearing apart all of the guards outside. With him then coming through the door with part of it with the his mask only covering the burn of his face. Then what happens is more guards show up, and then what happens is he with like his fast speed, he grabs all their hearts and converts them into life force. This being him, he's only using the Green Dragon Emperor at this point. With then him rushing over to Ryza, challenging him to a fight. With then with Cerzex being happy that he's arrived in the nick of time before the marriage happened. Then what happens is, like, on the way there, he watched the whole fight on, like, how she saved, Arcia before she was about to get attacked by Ryza. Her crying, this pissing off him even more. With, when they get to the battleground, with Cerzex asking Izuku, like, what his prize will be, with everybody being shocked, saying, like, why is a low-class devil getting reward? With Izuku saying he wants Rias Gramarye. Then what happens is the fight begins. It starts off with Ryza just rushing at Izuku, like, pummeling him until Izuku gets knocked into a wall. With this making him to start to laugh. Like, it's like he's cackling. Then what happens is, he takes off the mask fully. So then, and he says, he's going to show him the immense amount of pleasure that he's going to get from beating the crap out of Ryza. Then what happens is, he brings out the Green Dragon Emperor, and only the Green Dragon Emperor. He's saying this is the only dragon that he's going to need to beat him. With him saying, balance break. Him, like, with all these veins popping up on him, these being like a green, like a fluorescent green color. Then, with it going into the transformation of the balance breaker, ending up with turning him into this. Something happened, so if I've already gone through this part, I'm sorry. So him turning into this, and then him beating the hell out of Ryza until Ryza is on the floor. Then what happens is Izuku uses his right hand with the gauntlet and drains half of Ryza's power, since that's all he can do. Then what happens is he starts using Ryza's powers, like really only the flames, and then bringing out the flame wings. Then what happens is him bringing back his with this. After that, he hits Ryza in the stomach, sending him into the wall. Him taking back the helmet, extending his tongue out, which is like a dragon tongue. It's like Venom's tongue. It's as long as that. With him then rushing over to Ryza, but right before he does, rival Phoenix pops in and saying that don't hurt my brother. With him then replying with, maybe if your brother wasn't so douchey, he wouldn't have ended up this way. Then what happens is, it skips to the part where then it gets to the part where the stadium despawns. And then what happens is, we get to the part where everybody is congratulating, Issei. When, like, if you think he's, like, falling, he's not. He's using float to, keep him afloat. The thing is about the Green Dragon Emperor, he doesn't have the ability to bring out his wings, since he's a mixture of both of those two dragons, which is why he has two heads on the side of the shoulder, one being for each dragon. And then we get to the part where Rias thanks Izuku. With then the Griffin shows up and them going back to their place. Something that I should and that's the end of that arc. Something that I should also get into. The familiar part. The whole like slime thing happens and Arcia meets the Blue Dragon. During out like that whole incident, Izuku is getting this strange sense, this strange feeling. And then he just walks over to that walks towards that feeling, and it being two things fighting. This being this dragon and this hellhound fighting, with then those two stopping like right as their claws were about to clash. With them looking at Issei, and with them like right as they stopped fighting, they said not Issei, them looking at Izuku, with them saying Izuku at the like in unison, with him saying Blaze and Pyro. This one is Blaze and this one is Pyro. Let's go into the past, when he's getting the burn. This is right after he gets the burn. This hellhound and this dragon pop in, but they're only kids. Then what happens is they fight off the wolves and them going up to Izuku asking if he's okay. Then what happens is they start playing. Then the next day, after a few weeks, they think that Izuku's forgotten about them. So, and at this point, it's because he's gone into hospital. Because of how the scar was. Then what happens is at this point we're with these two, and they're getting captured and sent to the familiar place. With these two fighting, these two have been fighting for many years. They stopped when Issei that was the only time that they stopped. Then the familiar guy comes in, with him saying that these two don't usually stop fighting. And with nobody can actually hear what they're actually talking about. With then them jumping on Izuku, turning into this little guy, this being the Hellhound, and this being the dragon. Them going into their true forms. The other forms that they have, they're battle forms whenever they want to fight. And they've been in those forms for many years. With them pouncing on Izuku, saying it's so good to see him, and him replying with same. Then what happens is he says that he'll be taking these two back. With the familiar guy saying that not many people have been able to for being able to tame in these two, he can take both of them when people would only usually get one. With then after that they both go on his shoulder and they just start catching up on what's happened. With him telling them how he's become the Red Dragon Emperor and the White Dragon Emperor, this being in the past, since he hasn't gotten all the other Dragon Emperors yet. And that's it. I'm sorry for not putting the familiar part where it's supposed to be, and also I'm sorry if the whole my mistake of not unpausing. So sorry and goodbye.